Should possessing small amounts of illegal street drugs be decriminalized?
It's a tough question, actually. I'm a believer that free markets, affects not only for drugs, everything. But in this topic, I am a little bit too conservative. So I wouldn't say that this is the right choice to distribute drugs, whatever it is, and in whatever amount. So basically, it should be restricted, not delivered like that, I think.
It just seems to me that we're almost encouraging it and sanctioning it rather than saying it's not the right thing to do.
I sort of linked it back to prohibition. When people were told in the old days that you can't do something, they went ahead and, oh gosh, something, yeah. So I don't see anything wrong with a small amount, well policed in a way.
That's a tricky question, the decriminalization of street drugs, because we are in the crisis. So my stance on that is very I want the opioid crisis to obviously halt. I don't think I have enough information on that. I think the small decriminalization might allow people to come forward and talk more about if they have that or not, so it might help with that, but I don't know enough to have a good stance on that.
I think it should be, and I think that folks that are committed to using the product are not able to make decisions on their own, and so let's give them a break.
Yes, I do. It's actually proven in the Netherlands that when you decriminalize drugs to a certain degree and you put certain steps to make it so it's dealt in a healthier way, most people actually, their consumption tends to go not down, I wouldn't say, but it becomes just, you don't have as many problems on the streets.
I think that it should, and the reason I say that is because the current strategy that we've had for many years clearly is not achieving the results that it was intended to achieve. There's some people out there that need some real help, and maybe if there were different avenues to get to them and get them the help that they need, we might actually move forward on solving this problem.
Yeah, I don't think it's changed the problem with drugs existing or with helping the people that may not want to be using drugs. I think it's just penalizing those individuals and not solving the underlying problems.
I certainly think that possessing small amounts of street drugs should be decriminalized. We have an overpopulated jail system. We also we would be able to tax and regulate certain things. It's also small amounts are mistakes that can be made by people. Mistakes are made throughout life, and if there are certain things that can be expunged or taken care of without having to affect their life fully, I think it would be important.
Absolutely. Decriminalization of all drugs kind of empowers everyone who suffers from addiction and lack of access to kind of facilities that would help them get over that addiction. Breaks down those barriers. When we criminalize small amounts of drugs, it's more fodder for police, and it creates more crime that's really not crime at all. It's unnecessary. So yes, I'm 1,000% for complete decriminalization.
The wisest opinion in all that comes from Vancouver, where the problem is rampant, and I think the legislation the BC government has introduced is valid, and my guess is the rest of the country will follow that in the next year or so.
I don't believe it should be decriminalized. I've seen what addiction can do to people, and it's just a road that no one should go down. It shouldn't be available in any quantity to anyone.
Small amounts of street drugs, should be decriminalized because I don't think it's helpful. It doesn't, punishing people who have an addiction is not the answer to addiction.
Incarcerating people for addictions is wrong. It doesn't help the situation. It costs taxpayers money.
No, not at all. I think it should be criminalized, but I think a lot of it is back to educating people, helping people that are using perhaps excessively, to help them, give them help. I don't think the answer is providing more or allowing it to be legal.
I'm a healthcare professional, so my answer would be no.
I'm a retired police officer. I'd say probably no.
I think so, absolutely. And why is that? Can you elaborate?
Why is that? Because it's happening anyway, so that it be a crime, you know, that there's no reason. I just wish that people did not turn towards these very dangerous medicines and pills, but it's happening, so if you decriminalize, you'll have probably a better product and less danger of death.
I think definitely it should be decriminalized, not legalized, but decriminalized. It's a very huge difference. We can see in some countries in Europe how it affected positively the fact that it's not the police arresting, but more like intervention, social intervention. So I think this is a step that Canada definitely needs in order to act more properly for our society.
Small amounts have been decriminalized de facto, basically, in Vancouver, because the police don't charge anybody with that anymore. They can't already deal with that. So I think perhaps that we're seeing a change in that direction, and I think at this point we just have to try anything